Man smirked mischievously. Let's see if we get caught. It's all up to you now. And so, Kim Dan started his work again. Ju Jae-kyung watched him with satisfaction and smiled. Kim Dan had no choice but to cover his mouth tightly to keep from making any sound. This only made him more excited. Kim Dan seemed to realize that things were about to get even more intense. Sure enough, it was exactly as he had imagined. This was way too intense. Kim Dan's appearance made him bolder. Just like that. Ju Jae-kyung was very satisfied with the work status this time. Ju Jae-kyung left with satisfaction. Kim Dan thought, it's finally over. On the day of the welcome ceremony, the coach brought Kim Dan a newly made therapist uniform. Kim Dan said he liked it very much and that it fit well. Thank you for your effort. Unexpectedly, the coach thanked Kim Dan instead, saying, who else in this world could endure such a bad-tempered guy? You have no idea how grateful I am for your presence. Kim Dan was so embarrassed that he didn't know what to say. The coach shook Kim Dan's hands and said, now that the uniform fits, we'll be working together for a long time. A team member came to tell the coach that they had reserved a restaurant at 6 o'clock, and everyone had gone ahead. Today is an important day, it's Kim Dan's welcome party. Upon arriving at the restaurant, it was very lively, everyone was eating, drinking, and chatting happily. Seeing the coach and Kim Dan arrive, the team members enthusiastically called them over. Kim Dan felt a little overwhelmed. After sitting down, an athlete took great care of him, filling his plate with food. They told him, if you don't eat quickly, it'll be gone. Everyone here is an athlete, so we get really excited at gatherings. Taking advantage of the occasion, the coach asked everyone to introduce themselves to Kim Dan. Finally, the coach formally introduced himself to Kim Dan. It turned out he wasn't just a coach but also Ju Jae-kyung's manager. The coach told Kim Dan that although he was Ju Jae-kyung's exclusive therapist, other athletes would also need his help. Someone nearby asked why Jae-kyung wasn't there. The coach said that after finishing training in the morning, Jae-kyung had external activities in the afternoon. Someone started to feel indignant on Kim Dan's behalf, saying, this gathering is specifically to welcome his personal therapist, and he still didn't show up. That's too much. Kim Dan thought to himself that he actually felt more at ease without him there. Just seeing his face would remind him of bad memories. Thankfully, he hadn't been discovered that day. If he had been discovered, he wouldn't have been able to face these people. He decided to leave early depending on the atmosphere. Someone suggested starting the welcome ceremony. He was then suddenly pulled over. The coach put his arm around Kim Dan, holding a large beer keg, and asked everyone to pour their welcome into it. So, one by one, everyone poured in their drinks. The large beer keg was soon filled to the brim. Someone was even recording the event. Kim Dan stared at the overflowing keg, completely stunned. Everyone started cheering for him to finish it. Oh my god, how am I supposed to finish this? These people are crazy. What should I do? Suddenly, Ju Jae-kyung showed up at the restaurant. Everyone thought he wouldn't come. Jae-kyung was annoyed, saying, didn't you all say you had no money? What a hassle. But I happened to arrive just in time for Kim Dan's welcome ceremony. No one expected him to join in. Then you'll have to take my drink too. I don't know if Dr. Kim Dan can finish it. He's weak to begin with. That statement triggered Kim Dan's competitiveness. He drank all the wine in a rage. Everyone at the scene was shocked. They all cheered for him, chanting his name. Who told Jae-kyung to look down on him like that? He just had to prove himself. Ju Jae-kyung seemed to look at him in a new light. Everyone drank and had fun, getting completely drunk. Someone wanted ice cream, but not a single person could stand up properly. They kept pushing each other. Kim Dan got up and said he would go buy it. Hey, doctor, sit down. How can we let you go? Kim Dan insisted he could do it, but after just a few steps, he fell.
Welcome to We Read, your gateway to a diverse world of novels. We Read offers a ranking feature, where you can explore the top novels. With the sorting option, you can filter by your favorite tags and find exactly what you're in the mood for. Once you enter a novel, you can see the number of chapters, making it simple to jump to the one you want, whether you're picking up where you left off or skipping ahead. Plus, you can customize how you read. Choose between scroll, flip, or slide modes for the perfect reading experience. Customize even further by changing font size, modifying spacing, choosing a font style that suits you best, selecting your preferred background color, and toggling between light and dark mode. Want to share your thoughts? Leave comments and read reviews from other readers. Download We Read now to explore exciting, high-quality stories.
Joo Jae-kyung's attention was drawn to the commotion. A few athletes quickly went over to check on him. The coach told Joo Jae-kyung to take the drunk Kim Dan home, saying he looked like he couldn't last any longer. Joo Jae-kyung looked innocent and asked, "Why'd I have to take him?"
Because everyone here is drunk. You're the only one who isn't. The coach and the others egged him on. He's your therapist, of course, you have to take him. Looking at Kim Dan on the ground, Joo Jae-kyung had a disgusted expression. Can't drink, but still drinks. So dumb. So, he picked him up with one hand and got ready to take him home. On the way, Joo Jae-kyung started regretting it. He should have just left some money and left, but now he had to take someone home. So annoying. He asked Kim Dan where his house was. At this moment, Kim Dan was completely drunk and kept mumbling about buying ice cream. But under Joo Jae-kyung's pressing, he finally gave him the address. Following the address, he arrived at Kim Dan's residence. What the hell? He lives here? The drunk Kim Dan was still unconscious. Joo Jae-kyung had no choice but to carry him inside. Looks like this is the place. He opened the door. A strange, overwhelming smell immediately hit him. He scanned the room and saw moldy stains in the corners, empty liquor bottles on the floor. The whole place was a mess. Disgusting. He just threw Kim Dan down without care. Joo Jae-kyung looked around. This place stank of filth and poverty. Suddenly, he heard a noise. This place even has a leak? The dazed Kim Dan thought it was his grandmother and called out to him. Joo Jae-kyung told him to shut up and even nudged him with his foot. So, is this why you keep asking me for so much money? Kim Dan turned over and mumbled, "Don't worry about me. I'll figure it out myself." Looks like he's completely out of it. Joo Jae-kyung turned to leave. The next morning, Kim Dan woke up, confused as to why his house was so bright. Impossible. Where is this? Kim Dan suddenly sat up in shock. Could this be Joo Jae-kyung's house? How did I end up in his house? I can't remember anything after drinking. Thinking that Joo Jae-kyung might have personally brought him home, his face turned bright red. He hurriedly checked if his body had any pain. Did nothing happen last night? Joo Jae-kyung appeared at some point and said, "Are you acting out a whole drama by yourself?" Joo Jae-kyung looked at Kim Dan. "Are you afraid I'd take advantage of you? You smell like alcohol all over your body. I don't even want it." That made Kim Dan feel really embarrassed. After thanking him, Kim Dan got up to leave. Joo Jae-kyung said he never wanted to bring him back in the first place. "But after seeing your place last night, I couldn't stand staying there for even a second. That's not a place fit for people to live in. So, he went to my place. hearing him describe his home like that. But of course, he's rich. It's natural for him to feel that way. Not wanting to hear more insults, Kim Dan hurried to leave. Ju Jae-kyung continued, "Why do you live in a place like that? So pathetic." Hearing him keep talking about his home. This guy has no idea what kind of life I live. Why does he have to say that? He got so mad that he started crying. Do you pity me? Is that why you're giving me extra money? No matter how I live, it's none of your business. Ju Jae-kyung had only casually said those words but never expected this reaction. He was stunned. If you're going to say things like that, why did you bring me here in the first place? And now you're humiliating me? Kim Dan left Ju Jae-kyung's home, heartbroken and embarrassed. Watching his back as he left, Ju Jae-kyung couldn't understand. Why is he crying? Did I say something wrong? He recalled what had happened last night after he took Kim Dan home. Just as he was about to turn and leave, the drunk Kim Dan suddenly clung onto him tightly, crying, begging him not to leave. It turned out Kim Dan had mistaken him for his grandmother, sobbing that he was lonely and didn't want to be alone. What the hell is this? No matter how much Ju Jae-kyung tried, he couldn't shake him off. In the end, he had no choice but to bring him back.